Most countries have a 24-hour news network. A continent of, for me, it's unacceptable that a continent of 1.2 billion people has not a single unified voice that can portray what Africa really is. I mean, we use the example of Al Jazeera. For us, Jazeera is something that we want to strive to become, because Jazeera gave the Middle East a voice, gave the people of the Middle East a voice where they never had one. Good, bad, biased or not biased is in personal opinions, but they put an alternative to the news that was being put out by the BBC, by CNN, by Sky. And for Africa, that is what we need. And we have to stop, as I said in my presentation, we have to stop waiting for the West or somebody, or the East now, China or India, to come and help us do it. We have to do it ourselves. Information needs to be processed and distributed around the continent, because that's the only way that Africans will actually really understand what their value is, what they're worth. So when the Chinese come, when the Indians come, when the Americans come to negotiate for our oil, for our resources, at least the people of Africa understand what the value is. So instead of 80% or 90% being taken out of the continent, 10% goes. 10% is a good margin. As Samir said, 10-15% is a good margin, but the majority has to stay in Africa and benefit the people. Well, what we have to do is, as it was said in that presentation, is that Africa has all the resources. We have everything, and nobody wants to leave home if they can help it. They want to stay in their own house, in their own country, but there's no opportunities, and that's because the governments, because of a handful of people that control the continent, leaders that have been there not by their abilities, but because they're born in the right place, the right family, and they've taken over power by force. Because of those people, the continent is losing its best minds because they want to leave. They find no opportunity there. We have to create opportunity. The hundreds of millions of Africans that are in the diaspora, in Italy, in Spain, in America, in the Middle East, they want to come back home. And you give them opportunity, they will come back home with their money and they will invest. I think the media is one of the most vibrant fields on the continent at the moment. It's the fastest growing industry in Africa at the moment. The new technologies, mobile phones, the internet, is changing the way information is being moved. So I think the new generation of journalists are going to be completely online, high-tech journalists. We're already getting the fiber optic cable laid around Africa. That's going to change a lot of things. It's going to put more people online. And I think that is going to completely change the way information is disseminated. It also means that governments can't control information the way they used to be able to. So that, I think, is also going to reflect on the polling booths.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.